Today is Wednesday, September 29th. The time is now 6:38, and you're at the City of Opa-locka CRA special meeting. Roll call, please.
Board Member Bass. She seems she stepped out. Board Member Paget.
Here.
Board Member Taylor.
Here.
Board Member Titus.
Here.
Board Member Williams.
Here.
Vice Chair Davis. Chair Russell.
Here.
Attendance confirmed.
Okay, we've already had a moment of silence. You want to bow your head? We had prayer. We're gonna ask God to carry that over. And we've pledged allegiance to the flag once today. So we're gonna move right into our meeting if that's the will of the board. Public comments is now open. Public comments is closed. Madam Attorney, please.
A resolution of the Board of the Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency, OCRA, approving and adopting the Opa-locka Community Redevelopment Agency's proposed general operating and tax increment fund budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022, as set forth in Exhibit A, directing the Executive Director to transmit a copy of said budget to Miami-Dade County, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for severability, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for effective date.
Move. Second.
And for the matter of discussion, can board members, can we do this? Can we look at where we can make deductions to try to bring this budget within the $350,000? Our manager have a few suggestions, and board members, so that I think if we do that first, let's bring it down, if that's the will of the board, so that we'll be, we won't overspend. I think everyone will feel more comfortable. So I think I want to go with Board Member Bass first. She has some suggestions she would like to make.
Thank you so much. I was just looking at where we can put a hand on the extra $15,000 to make the $50,000 that Board Member Williams was speaking about. And it's just a suggestion. I was thinking that we can probably go to parks, the amenities, and take 5,000 from there, 5,000 from historic preservation, and also 5,000 from the development and, excuse me, the incentive assistance program. And, that would be our 15,000 to make it 50,000 for.
Okay,
Chairwoman.
that's where you're saying that we could take the $15,000 from. Okay, hold that one now. Board Member Taylor.
Okay, I'm proposing in regards to the 350 that we take 250 from the Development Incentives and Assistance Program, and we take 100,000 from historic preservation, and that'll get us to 350.
Okay, Board Member Taylor's suggestion is that we take 250 from develop incentive. So that would bring that down to 500,000 from 750, and then take the other 100,000 from the historic preservation. My only concern with that, Board Member Taylor, is that with the historic preservation,
Before you say that, maybe we're on the same page. This talked about activities towards the rehabilitation of historic city properties. So my suggestion is we take that at one, we'll have left 150. And I just want us to just maybe focus on City Hall itself and not the fire station or any other historical buildings that we're trying to do in this particular line item.
Okay, because I thought all of this was going to Historic City Hall.
No, it says towards rehabilitation of historic city
Mhm,
properties.
Okay, Mr. Manager.
Plural.
So as I elaborated earlier, through Public Works, they actually have received word that they can receive funding through the GOV funds from the county for the restoration of historic City Hall. That's why we looked at opportunities to redirect those funds elsewhere to other historic city properties. However, historic City Hall is still a part of that funding if the board so chooses.
Okay, then I would be more inclined to go towards what Board Member Taylor says then. Because I thought it was just, I didn't know that we were moving away from Historical City Hall, and that's just on my part. I just didn't catch that. That went over my head. So if we're not talking about Historic City Hall in here, then I'll agree with taking that $100,000.
Madam Chair, that
Yes.
language speaks to, because you said we have the money for the City Hall through the city.
All of,
Okay.
hold that thought. All of the money that they
Yeah, that's
need?
what it
Yes, we received a GOB grant opportunity, Madam Chair.
Excuse me, say it again.
I said we received a GOB grant opportunity from Miami-Dade County for $600,000.
So that would
Just-
take care of the
Yes.
Historical City Hall.
Yes, in Miami-Dade County, through my agenda briefing earlier today, I found out that Miami-Dade County would also be providing gap funding as well for any leftover shortfalls with City Hall. So 600,000 up to what it would cost to complete the project.
But I didn't want to zero it out
Yeah.
only because we still got, I like the language that it speaks to properties because they're doing City Hall.
They might be so kind. Okay, so you're talking about leave 150,000 or leave what? Take
150.
100,000
Take
out.
100,000 out.
So then that would be the 350,000
Yes,
that
ma'am,
we need.
because 250 will be coming from the community, what is that, Development Incentive
Uh-huh.
Assistance Program.
Mhm. Okay, and so that would be the shortfall that Board Member Paget was
We're
speaking
talking
of.
about for the
Okay,
surplus.
but we still need that
Madam- Madam Chair.
15,000.
More than 15,000.
We still need that 15,000. Board Member Paget.
Could we get a little more clarity when it means activity towards rehabilitation of historic city properties? What exactly does that mean?
Okay. Mr. Manager.
Through the chair, these are opportunities to look at other historic city properties. Pretty much the primary one is looking at the rehabilitation of the historic fire station, which is adjacent to historic City Hall, to rehab that for additional purposes. And in conversations that we've had with Public Works, we're looking at the opportunity to rehabilitate it for other city services, such as another senior center or potential offices for future use.
But I thought that the,
Uh,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's one thing to rehabilitate the building. It's another thing to find out what we're going to do with that moving forward. And I know that in our downtown master plan, what does it talk about in terms of historic City Hall and that area? What does that contribute to our downtown?
In regards to downtown master plan, it spoke to historic City Hall being a cultural center as well as an event space, and looking to activate that entire corridor from end to end, which includes the parking lot and historic fire station. With historic fire station, I have to actually go back through that plan for the actual detail of it. I know staff has talked about alternative options with that building, but this funding would at least be funding to initiate rehabilitation of the building. However, that decision on what the services would be up to the community and commission at large to determine what that actual use would be for the building.
So if I'm not mistaken, I thought the consideration of historic City Hall, historic fire building in that area was going to be one type of, like, it's all going to be taken care of together, rehabilitated together. So the thing that I haven't seen is the programming of it, what it will be used for. And I know with the historic fire station, there's already talks about turning it into a historic, I think it's Black
Yeah, Black
Fighters
Firefighters
Museum.
Association Museum. Correct.
Museum on that front, which will bring tourism and bring attraction to downtown. But what is the funding to explore what those options would be for those buildings and to bring that together? Like, we're going to turn City Hall into an event space, it's a cultural museum for the city of Opa-locka, which is something we definitely need. What does that look like? How would that manifest? And what's the funding to help us figure that out? Are we going to bring in a consultant that's going to do programming? Are we going to renovate it as a museum? Then who will we get to run and operate that? So those are the thoughts that I'm having. And I think that if so, I would further reduce the historic city preservation to only 50,000. And then allocate that funds to, at some point in time, the CRA manager comes up after a meeting with whoever or exploring that, talking to us to use that 50,000, however, and not to use all of it, but that's a cushion fund to figure out what that next step would be.
Put together
So
a plan.
exactly, put together that plan so that if it's get renovated by next year, then this funds will also assist with the programming so that once everything is done, we have a plan, we have a building, and we're ready to move. And I doubt that'll cost more than 50,000, which would generate, if we do as Commissioner Taylor said, taking and reducing developments by 250, and then we bring this down to 200, that'll give us a little bit of a surplus if we also use some of those funds to put towards that 15,000 in marketing. So that kind of would take care of all that and give us a little bit of a surplus.
There's the answer to our question that would give the 15,000 that Board Member Williams talked about to increase marketing to 50,000. That would take a developmental incentive down to 500,000. And that 250, where would that 250 go?
It will go to, it would take from 250 to 50,000.
Okay,
And then any remaining funds go into that TIF line item.
okay, got it. Bam. Don't play with us.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I know I didn't get a chance to mention this in the workshop, but of course, being that this is a budget hearing, it's a proper setting. I know that the CRA plan was taken out, the $150,000 expenditure, which in my opinion, I think is extremely important, given the return that it could potentially bring the agency. So as you know, as a part of the CRA plan and that planning and that process, we will be able to craft a new finding of necessity, as well as redefine what our CRA area is, i.e. boundaries and the like. I think that, that is an important item by significantly redefining what our CRA area is, obviously would bring more of a return and build the surplus that Board Member Pygott and others are ultimately trying to get to. I see we're having budget conversations to move 250,000 from various line items. So I just wanted to make that point that item was removed, and I do think it's of significance, being that it's the only line item that would potentially bring more money into the CRA. So I just wanted to make that point and put that on the table as well as my colleagues deliberate. Thank you.
Anyone have any comments concerning that? You want to elaborate why it was taken out? I think
No.
quite.
No, I don't need an answer why it was
okay.
taken out.
You just wanted
right.
to
I
let
just
us
wanted to
know
put
that
it, yes, on the
that it's
record.
important.
Right, and
Okay.
ultimately, I'm not saying it's something that we must achieve in the upcoming fiscal year budget. Obviously, it might be something we decide later, through a budget amendment or in next fiscal year's budget. But I just want to, put it on the table and say how important it is, in my opinion, to the agency to be able to, significantly control the scope of projects that we do, because we, at the current moment, we're, pretty limited as to what we can do as an organization as we craft these services.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Davis, for that. We'll make sure that we make note of that. So from here, Mr. Anthony, I think from you captured.
We need to make a motion to amend the budget as we say, or do we do an amendment, friendly amendment from the manager?
Go ahead, madam.
Did he run through all of the amendments or?
Except for the one that spoke to the employees, up to.
They
We're
need to,
supposed to add that. In the line item for employees, we said up to 90,000, up to 55,000.
Yes, ma'am, if I could address that. Typically in a budget, when you put it in a budget, it doesn't say that is the number, that is the upper number. If you put a less, you can obviously only put one number in at this point.
Yes.
If you put a lesser number in and it turns out to be closer to the upper limit, then you're going to have to come back and do a budget amendment. I mean, you certainly have the right to change it any way you want, but the convention is normally just to put the top
dollar.
top dollar in, and then when you actually negotiate, you'll do as you will to get what you think is the right compensation.
Yeah, we understand that, but what we are saying is that in the budget narrative,
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
we want to make sure that that is a part of the budget narrative that is up to. So thank you, sir. So we have all of the captured, all of the amendments.
you would need,
If-
you should go through each to make it clean so that you all make sure that you're capturing, everyone understands what they're voting on.
Okay, Board Member Paget, you had a question?
Want me to run through it?
Yes, please.
I would like to motion to increase the marketing and special events to 50,000. Or do you want me to say them all and then do one motion? for
Do them
everything?
each one at a time. You need to do roll call.
Okay. Oh, we need a second.
Second.
Board Member Bass.
Yes.
Board Member Paget.
Yes.
Board Member Taylor.
Yes.
Board Member Titus.
Yes.
Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis.
Yes.
Chair Russell.
Yes.
Passed.
I think the next one was a motion to amend the development incentives program to from 750,000 to 500,000.
Roll call.
Board Member Bass.
Yes.
Board Member Paget.
Yes.
Board Member Taylor.
Yes.
Board Member Titus.
Yes.
Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis.
Yes.
Chair Russell.
Yes.
Passed.
The next one was amend the historic preservation from 250,000 to 50,000.
Second.
Board Member Bass.
Yes.
Board Member Paget.
Yes.
Board Member Taylor.
Yes.
Board Member Titus. Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Chair Russell,
Yes.
passed.
The final one is to increase the TIF line item TIF trust by the remaining balance.
Which is $81,581.
Motion.
Board Member Bass.
Yes.
Board Member Paget,
Yes.
Board Member Taylor, Board Member Titus, Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Chair Russell,
Yes.
passed.
All right.
All done.
Oh, now we need to approve the entire budget. Yeah. Someone needs to move it.
I'll move it, Madam Chair.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Board Member Bass.
Yes.
Board Member Paget,
Yes.
Board Member Taylor,
Yes.
Board Member Titus, Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Vice Chair Davis,
Yes.
Chair Russell,
Yes.
item passed.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Move
adjourn.
it.